Chapter 51. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It's said that even a top talent ranked 33rd on the talent list barely makes it through with 1.5 incense sticks burned. That tells you how tough this test is. Most disciples need almost 2 whole incense sticks to pass, and a lot of those still in the early Yuan stage can't even hack it. This is where the difference between the good and the great really shows. Next up is Shaoyang. As the third-ranked talent, Shaoyang instantly becomes the center of attention. He steps forward, cool as a cucumber. This particular test is all about footwork, his bread and butter, so he's feeling pretty confident. The final score is a combo of 3 tests, so there's no way he's going to beat Cui Nan and Gu Shaoyang overall. Those two are just too tough. He's not even thinking about Song Qinyu. Besides raw power, Song Qinyu is the undisputed king of footwork and martial arts in the inner sect. He's got this one in the bag, no question. At least, that's what Shaoyang believes. Shaoyang explodes into action, moving so fast he leaves afterimages hanging in the air. It's the shadow follows the form technique. Gu Shaoyang recognizes the style immediately. Shaoyang has maxed out this skill. 3 shadows appear at once, easily fooling the wooden dummies, and he doesn't slow down for a second. He nails the course in under 1 incense stick. The crowd is blown away. So far, Shaoyang is the fastest, beating second place by a solid half stick. The number 2 guy on the elite list is seriously scary. Shaoyang is breathing a little heavy. That full-throttle footwork really burns through the energy. He scans the field, locking eyes on a few people he sees as contenders, his gaze sharp. He doesn't think anyone besides Song Qinyu can touch his speed. Dude, Song Qinyu and Cui Nan are in the same group. The unexpected pairing sends a buzz through the crowd. The top 2 masters of the inner sect going head-to-head. This is going to be epic. Song Qinyu, used to everyone watching his every move, looks as calm as a lake. Cui Nan, on the other hand, looks a bit serious. He's built like a tank, and this speed test is packed with obstacles, so he's at a disadvantage. The test starts with a bang. Cui Nan blasts off like a cannonball, instantly leaving everyone else in the dust. He barrels into the course, triggering traps left and right, darts and hidden blades bouncing off him with sparks. Unreal. Someone shouts, Cui Nan's so tough. These Yuan level attacks barely even tickle, not even the wooden dummies' attacks just glance off him. It's like hitting a tank wrapped in leather. Cui Nan, as strong as an ox, weaves through the dummies like a greased pig. It's a crazy contrast. Check it out. Suddenly, someone yells in disbelief, Song Qinyu's almost there already. Everyone suddenly remembers Song Qinyu. The long-reigning champ of the inner sect is using the golden wild goose kung, a technique most people know, but Song Qinyu turns this basic move into something otherworldly. His body is light as a feather, gliding over the ground. In the hundreds of meters, he only touches down twice for a split-second breather, practically flying from start to finish. He doesn't trigger a single trap. The wooden dummies can only stare in confusion. Song Qinyu lands softly, with half an incense stick still to burn. Incredible. That's all anyone can think. Someone sighs, that's golden wild goose kung for you. That's the inner sect's number 1, senior brother Song. Cui Nan finishes 2, using a little over 1 incense stick. Not bad, but a bit slower than Shaoyang. Shaoyang lets out a breath. After seeing Song Qinyu move, he's given up on trying to catch him. But at least he beat Cui Nan. He should be locked in second place for the speed test, barring some crazy upset. Except, Shaoyang glances at a handsome young guy with a totally detached look, then shakes his head. Gu Shaoyang might be a monster, but he's built like Cui Nan. He's got the strength, not the speed. No way he can beat him. That's what Shaoyang tells himself. Gu Shaoyang. The examiner calls out Gu Shaoyang's name. Everyone watches him, whispering. What do you think Gu Shaoyang's going to do? I bet he'll finish in about 1/3 of an incense stick, give or take. Maybe a little slower, like Cui Nan. But no way he's faster than Shaoyang or Song. Someone analyzes, a lot of people nod. This level is about body skills, speed, Yuan energy strength, and explosive power. Gu Shaoyang's only been in the Yuan stage for a few months, so his Yuan energy is definitely lower than the others. And the geniuses in the later Yuan stage, everyone knows Gu Shaoyang is a swordsmanship prodigy, but that also means he's probably been slacking on his footwork. Putting him at third or fourth place is being generous. Gu Shaoyang hears all the chatter with a faint smile. A group of people stand at the entrance to the course, waiting for the signal, but when the test starts, one figure remains rooted to the spot. People recognize him and shout in surprise, "It's Gu Shaoyang. Why isn't he moving? Did he just give up on this one?" "Wait, look," someone points forward and yells, "Gu Shaoyang's already at the front." Everyone looks and sees another Gu Shaoyang ahead of all the other participants, 2 Gu Shaoyangs. They're all confused. Then Shuihaoyu, who's been watching closely, takes a deep breath. He says, slowly, "It's, the shadow follows the form technique." He's practiced it himself, so he knows the style. But as soon as he says it, his eyes widen in disbelief and he shouts, 3 shadows, for shadows. Impossible. How can he have that many phantoms? This isn't the shadow follows the form technique at all. Chapter 52. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 52. Everyone saw it. Suddenly, numerous Gu Shaoyangs popped up in the passage. Each Gu Shaoyang, spaced dozens of feet apart, was either strolling or glancing around, each as realistic as if they were alive, but when the traps and wooden attacks struck, they passed right through him. All of them were illusions. In the Qinyan sect, only one martial skill from the Sutra Pavilion's second floor could accomplish this. The like a shadow follows the form technique, however, even mastering that skill only created 3 phantoms. There were clearly 5 shadows in the passage. Everyone was baffled. This isn't the shadow follows the form skill, Shuihaoyu stated definitively. It must be an advanced body technique similar to it. As a master of the shadow-following skill, he had the authority to say so. No. A voice suddenly contradicted Shuihaoyu. Who was it? Shuihaoyu frowned, then his expression changed. It was Song Qianyu. Song Qianyu spoke slowly. This is the shadow-following form skill, just a level beyond mastery. Beyond mastery? Shuihaoyu blinked, but others couldn't grasp what he was talking about. Song Qianyu elaborated. Some people, with exceptional comprehension, can push a skill to its absolute limit. Based on their understanding, they can break the skill's inherent limitations and reach a state beyond mastery. I suspect that's what we're seeing here. Song Qianyu focused on Gu Shaoyang's figure in the passage and murmured, Gu Shaoyang could comprehend 20% of sword intent at the 9th level of Qi training. This isn't out of the question for him. I'm looking forward to our fight more than ever now. Everyone was stunned, then deeply impressed. He'd evolved the martial art. And a top-tier human-level martial art. At that, his comprehension was terrifying. He's a freak. Look, someone pointed excitedly at the passage. The 5th shadow. Gu Shaoyang's made it. Everyone's gaze snapped over to see Gu Shaoyang stroll out of the passage. His expression was calm as always, and his clothes weren't even wrinkled. It was as if he'd just returned from a casual walk, not survived a deadly speed test tunnel. Behind him, the 5 shadows slowly faded away, the shadow-following skill, surpassing mastery, with an unprecedented 5-shadow realm, allowed Gu Shaoyang to breeze through the traps before they triggered, and before the wooden men could react. This level was a piece of cake for him. A faint wisp of green smoke rose from the incense stick. Not even a third of it had burned. An eerie silence descended over the area. All eyes were fixed on the incense stick and Gu Shaoyang's unruffled demeanor. Words couldn't express the shock and awe they felt. Gu Shaoyang's time was faster than Song Qianyu's. He'd even left Shuihaoyu and Cui Nan in the dust. Finally, someone spoke. Does anyone know who holds the record for this stage? Someone else thought for a moment and answered, Senior Brother Wei Zhuang. His record is less than half an incense stick's burn. I heard that Gu Shaoyang broke Wei Zhuang's Murin Alley record when he was at the outer gate. Damn. Someone swallowed hard. Everyone stared incredulously at Gu Shaoyang as he strolled toward them. A single thought ran through their minds. He's a monster, even more terrifying than Wei Zhuang. The speed test assessment concluded with Gu Shaoyang in first place. So far, Gu Shaoyang had aced 2 assessments. In other words, as long as he placed in the top 3 in the technical assessment's 3rd round, he'd take first place in the entire inner door assessment. It was practically his. The rules of the skill assessment were straightforward. Regular disciples could challenge the genius disciples on the elite list, and those on the elite list could only challenge those ranked ahead of them, and so on. Each person could challenge up to 3 times, with the winner receiving 1 point. Getting 2 points was considered passing. In other words, each disciple had to challenge at least one opponent stronger than them, and fight at least twice to have a shot at passing the assessment. Everyone's eyes darted around the field, sizing up potential opponents. Gu Shaoyang looked at Song Qianyu, who was already staring at him. Gu Shaoyang saw the burning determination in Song Qianyu's eyes. Song Qianyu took the spear from behind and nestled it in his hand, seemed to be declaring to him, "Are you worthy of a fight?" Gu Shaoyang was about to approach Song Qianyu to challenge him when a voice sounded in his ears. "Senior brother Song Qianyu, I challenge you." Gu Shaoyang turned in surprise. Shui Haoyu was staring intently at Song Qianyu. Chapter 53. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Gu Shaoyang was caught off guard, a little dumbfounded that he was getting challenged already, but since Shui Haoyu had called out Song Qianyu first, Gu Shaoyang had to step aside. Shui Haoyu faced Song Qianyu, his expression serious. As the third-ranked inner sect disciple, he only had 2 real options, Cui Nan or Song Qianyu. Frankly, he wasn't confident against either one, so he steeled himself and went for Song Qianyu, figuring he was the least likely to actually win. Song Qianyu was like an unmovable mountain in the minds of all the inner disciples. That way, even if he lost, it wouldn't shake his confidence too badly for the next fight. "Senior brother Song, please, give me your best shot," Shui Haoyu said, his voice deep. Song Qianyu chuckled, "All right, junior brother Shui, go ahead." Gu Shaoyang was about to settle in and watch the fight when he noticed someone approaching. "Senior brother Gu, I'm Dong Xuancheng, 10th on the talent list. I'd like to challenge you." Gu Shaoyang glanced back. Behind Dong Xuancheng, a bunch of other guys were watching, practically drooling at the prospect. Gu Shaoyang frowned. He only had 3 challenges total, and one had to be saved for Song Qianyu. He couldn't let these guys waste them. Dong Xuancheng, expecting some kind of response, was caught off guard when Gu Shaoyang suddenly drew his sword. A surge of yuanli, infused with 30% sword intent, flashed past Dong Xuancheng's ear and slammed into the ground. The hard stone floor now sported a terrifying sword mark, a foot deep and several feet long. Dong Xuancheng froze the instant Gu Shaoyang's sword was drawn. When he felt the sword's wind, he was sure he was a goner. A strand of hair floated down, beads of sweat rolled down his forehead, and his whole body went rigid. Then he saw Gu Shaoyang raise his eyes, glance at him and the crowd behind him, and say coldly, "If you want to challenge me, ask yourself if you can survive my first strike. Otherwise, don't waste my time." A chorus of nervous gulps rippled through the crowd. This guy was seriously hardcore. Several disciples who had been planning to test Gu Shaoyang's strength quietly backed off. Dong Xuancheng finally found his voice, forcing a smile. He bowed to Gu Shaoyang, saying, "Thank you for the guidance, senior brother Gu," and beat a hasty retreat. Gu Shaoyang was terrifying, plain and simple. In a quiet corner, 2 figures materialized. One was pale, the other radiated a calm menace. It was Elder Lin and Lei Lai. "That kid Gu is a natural swordsman. I gave him 3 months, and he's already challenging the inner sect in less than 2. Not bad, not bad." Lei Lai stroked his chin, chuckling. Elder Lin shot him a cold look. "Gu Shaoyang is doing this because he's confident. If you want him as a disciple, better drop the idea." Lei Lai scoffed, "Confident? I'll grant you the kid's got talent, but to surpass Song Qianyu and reach the top of the inner sect in just 2 months? Dream on. I was already pushing it by giving him 3. Elder Lin's eyes flickered. He smiled, "Oh, you're so sure. Let's make a bet then." Lei Lai roared with laughter, "I've heard you're a gambling addict. Thought you were trying to swindle something out of me. Last time I won the King Xian slate from Ji Feng, this time I thought I was cheating something." Elder Lin cut him off impatiently, "Are you in or not?" "I'm in." "What's the bet?" Elder Lin stroked his beard. "We'll bet on whether Gu Shaoyang can take first place in the inner sect." If he does, you lay off trying to make him your disciple, and quit trying to force your style on him. You're a sharp one. Lei Lai chuckled. And if you lose, Elder Lin said calmly, I know you were a wild man in your younger days, and those old wounds are probably why your cultivation's been stuck in the middle stage of Xiandan for so long. If I lose, I'll have Shaoyang acknowledge you as his master, and I'll personally refine a batch of healing elixirs to help you break through. How's that? Deal. Lei Lai agreed instantly, his eyes narrowed. Lin Hasong, do you really have that much faith in the kid? Don't forget, Song Qinyu's been in the late stage of Ningxin for ages. Elder Lin didn't hear Lei Lai's last words. His gaze was fixed on Gu Shaoyang, and he whispered, Shaoyang, I've gotten you the chance. Whether you seize it or not is up to you. Thousand phantom swords, Shui Haoyu roared, his sword a blur of countless shadows, attacking Song Qinyu head-on. Song Qinyu, seemingly intent on using this as a teaching opportunity, wasn't hurried or slow. He traded blows with Shui Haoyu, each movement measured. Gu Shaoyang watched quietly, thinking this fight could drag on for a while. Just then, a tall figure strolled up to him. How about we go a few rounds? Chui Nan asked, stretching his arms like a tiger waking from a long slumber, a hungry glint in his eyes and radiating an intimidating power. Gu Shaoyang paused, then smiled. He nodded. Sure. I could use a warm-up. Chapter 54. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chui Nan just laughed, a harsh sound, and pointed a finger at Gu Shaoyang. You really are the most arrogant guy I've ever met. The crowd around them scattered, a buzz of excitement running through the air. Shui Haoyu and Song Qinyu were already going at it over there, and now Gu Shaoyang and Chui Nan were about to throw down. It was a showdown between the inner sect's top dogs. Shui Haoyu was clearly outmatched by Song Qinyu. That fight was a foregone conclusion, but the clash between Gu Shaoyang and Chui Nan. That was the main event. Everyone wanted to see who was really the stronger of the two. Chui Nan sauntered to the opposite side of Gu Shaoyang, hooking his fingers in a blatant taunt. Gu Shaoyang's face hardened, and the power simmering within him, the aura of someone in the mid-stage of Juyuan, began to leak out. He'd spent the past month holed up, burning through almost 100 high-grade Yuan stones he'd hauled back from the Qilian mountains. That was enough to push him through to the mid-stage of Juyuan without much fuss. Now, the Yuan energy swirling in Gu Shaoyang's dantian was about the size of two fists. He had no real way to gauge the average mid-stage Juyuan warrior, but he knew he was in another league, probably on par with someone in the late stages. That was the Han Hai Xian Gong for you. Gu Shaoyang gave a low shout, drawing his sword in a flash of steel, and a wave of scorching heat blasted outwards. It washed right over Chui Nan. Golden Crow sword technique, 3 legs across the sky. Gu Shaoyang poured a full 10% of Qiang's sword intent into that strike. The blade was powerful, radiating a sense of sheer dominance. Damn! Many of the inner disciples watching in the wings imagined taking that blow and quickly shook their heads. Most wouldn't even survive the first strike. Chui Nan's expression didn't change, though his eyes narrowed. He reached out a huge hand and grabbed at Gu Shaoyang's blade. Clang! The hand met the steel in a shower of sparks. Gu Shaoyang frowned, noticing the pair of dark gloves Chui Nan was wearing. Gu Shaoyang struck again. Golden Crow holds the sun, 2% intent. This time, the strike was far more potent, but Chui Nan inhaled deeply and threw a slow punch. The power of the blow dissipated the sword's momentum. He stumbled back a few steps, but was otherwise unharmed. I'd suggest you just go all out. Chui Nan shook his head, a sigh escaping him. This just isn't doing it for me. Gu Shaoyang's eyes turned cold, but he struck again, this time channeling 20% of his sword intent. Chui Nan scoffed, bellowing, Vajra covering palm. A strange vibration pulsed from Chui Nan, and his palm seemed to swell in size, becoming as big as a millstone. Ichen palm intent. Gu Shaoyang's pupils contracted. Chui Nan wasn't ranked second on the talent list for nothing. The guy had tapped into the wellspring of martial intent. Whatever. Chui Nan sighed, his whole demeanor shifting in an instant. Muscles bulged across his body, and his bronzed skin tightened, as though a massive force was about to burst free. Chui Nan was already a big guy, but now he seemed to be swelling into a mountain, casting a shadow over everyone in the crowd. What is this? Eyes widened around them. Chui Nan stretched with a series of cracks and pops. He stalked toward Gu Shaoyang, saying offhandedly, I wasn't planning on showing my hand so soon. I was saving this for Song Qianyu, but I'm done messing around. Let's get this over with. Chui Nan slowly raised his right palm, sneering at Gu Shaoyang. I know you're holding back. 30% sword power. 35? Doesn't matter. My demon elephant pillar refining kung fu is practically perfected. I'm talking about 6,000 kilograms of raw power, plus a special technique to amplify that instantly. That's the force of 2 demon elephants. Guys in the late Yuan stage. I can turn them into jam with 1 palm. I didn't exactly go all out on the strength test. Chui Nan looked at Gu Shaoyang with undisguised mockery. I know you're strong. You knocked out Kizaru, ranked 48th on the talent list, with 1 punch, but guess what? We're both physical cultivators. That Kizaru wouldn't be fit to shine my boots. Chui Nan's expression twisted into a snarl, and he swatted at Gu Shaoyang with a vicious palm. Vajra covering palm. 10% intent, the power of 2 elephants. Gu Shaoyang, how are you going to handle this? Can you handle this? The crowd was reeling, stunned by Chui Nan's terrifying display. No one realized he was this strong. The power of 2 demon elephants, over 20,000 kilograms, the average Jiyuan fighter could barely muster 3,000. Chui Nan was over 7 times stronger than someone in the late Jiyuan stage. It was terrifying. He was second only to Song Qianyu for a reason. Even with a mere 10% understanding of palm intent, he could easily crush most of the geniuses below him. Gu Shaoyang was in serious trouble. Clang. Everyone was shocked to see Gu Shaoyang sheath his sword and face Chui Nan's palm with his bare hands. A wave of stunned silence washed over the crowd. What was going on? Was Gu Shaoyang giving up? Then, they saw Gu Shaoyang slowly clench his fist and meet Chui Nan's attack head-on. A low voice cut through the air. And guess what? You're not fit to shine my boots. Chapter 55. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 55. Gu Shaoyang's going to fight Chui Nan hand-to-hand. Is he out of his mind? With the force of those 2 demonic elephants behind Chui Nan, plus that 10% power boost in his palms, Gu Shaoyang's gonna be seriously messed up, if not worse. Crazy. Watching from a distance, Lei Lai frowned. Going up against someone's strength with your weakness is a rookie mistake. Does this kid even get that? I thought he might actually give Song Qianyu a run for his money, but at this rate, Chui Nan's gonna wipe the floor with him. Elder Lin looked serious, a hint of worry in his eyes. Hold your horses. Let's see what happens. Ha! Chui Nan roared, Gu Shaoyang, you're way too cocky. Take this. His meaty hand, as big as a dinner plate, came down with the force of an avalanche, and crashed into Gu Shaoyang's fist. Then, silence, a smooth, white fist, more delicate than a woman's, against a palm thick and gnarled like a monster's claw. The contrast was unreal, but instead of Gu Shaoyang's bones snapping and blood flying, the 2 just locked up. Then everyone heard Gu Shaoyang say, cool as you please, triple elephant strength, detonate. Chui Nan's face, which had been twisted into a snarl, suddenly went slack. He felt an unimaginable force erupting from Gu Shaoyang's fist, overwhelming him, leaving him helpless. No way. Chui Nan's eyes went wide, a roar of disbelief tearing from his throat. Crack. The sound of bone breaking was sharp and clear. Right before everyone's eyes, Chui Nan's arm, thick as a man's thigh, suddenly bent at an unnatural angle. Then he went flying. Thump. He hit the ground, coughing up blood, like he'd just taken a sledgehammer to the chest. Everyone was stunned. What the heck just happened? Chui Nan, with the power of 2 demonic elephants, just got flat out crushed. Was this real? Were they seeing things? You. Chui Nan pointed at Gu Shaoyang, his face a mask of shock and horror. speechless. Gu Shaoyang slowly pulled back his fist, looked down at him, and said calmly, I know you've been practicing Dragon Grab, and you've gotten to the second level. Thing is, I've been practicing Dragon Grab too. Also, I'm at the second level. Your arms have about 6,000 kilos of power behind them. Sorry, mine are just a little bit stronger. Asterisk hack, star, Chui Nan, enraged, spat out another mouthful of blood, staring at Gu Shaoyang, shocked and helpless. Triple elephant strength. Gu Shaoyang, you freak, that the others were speechless. Gu Shaoyang has the power of 3 demonic elephants. Their jaws dropped, that was insane. No wonder he ditched the sword and went hand to hand. This was probably exactly what he wanted. Looking at Gu Shaoyang, so smooth and handsome, you'd never guess he was a monster. Some of the inner disciples who had been itching to challenge Gu Shaoyang before felt a chill run down their spines. Dodged a bullet there. Look at Chui Nan, arm bent all crazy and coughing up blood. What a mess. They all gulped. Even senior brother Chui, Mr. Intersect Body Training, got taken down like that. They'd be in bed for 6 months. Gu Shaoyang casually glanced around, and people backed away. Everyone looked at him with a mix of awe and fear. Best to steer clear of a freak like that, with his crazy skills and that terrifying strength. This guy. Lei Lai was also thrown by the result. He was speechless. Elder Lin shot him a look and sneered, what? Regretting that bet now? No way, Lei Lai said, his voice low. Just you wait, Song Qianyu's gonna show this kid a thing or two. He muttered to himself, damn it, how is this kid such a beast? That kind of strength combined with that kind of skill, monster. 1,000 sails passed. With a shout, Xue Haoyu and Song Qianyu's fight came to an end. The gap between them was just too big. If Song Qianyu had really brought it, Xue Haoyu wouldn't have lasted long. Thanks for the lesson, senior brother Song. Xue Haoyu looked defeated. Facing Song Qianyu directly was a wake-up call. Song Qianyu was like a deep mountain pool. Crystal clear on the surface, but you never knew how deep it went. Chui Nan. You're up. Xue Haoyu quickly shook off the loss and got ready to face Chui Nan, but he turned and found Chui Nan wrapped in bandages, giving him a dumb look. Xue Haoyu was stunned. Chui Nan was seriously injured. What did I miss? Before he could get his head around it, he heard senior brother Song Qianyu's clear voice, full of eagerness. Gu Shaoyang, I've been waiting for you. Chapter 56. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Gu Shaoyang vs. Song Qianyu. The crowd buzzed with anticipation. A seasoned veteran, a fixture at the top of the elite rankings for years, was about to face a rapidly rising star. Everyone was dying to see who would come out on top. They quickly cleared a large space for the showdown. Xue Haoyu was still trying to figure out how Chui Nan ended up in such bad shape. After getting the details, shock and disbelief washed over his face. Gu Shaoyang, that strong? You remind me of someone. Song Qianyu said, admiration in his eyes. Let me guess, Wei Zhuang. Gu Shaoyang replied coolly. Song Qianyu nodded. You're like Wei Zhuang back in the day. You keep doing incredible things, leaving your peers in the dust. Gu Shaoyang nodded. I'll catch up to him soon enough, and I'll beat him like I'm about to beat you today. Then, people will say he's like me, not the other way around. A collective gasp went through the crowd. Gu Shaoyang was as arrogant as ever. Song Qianyu just smiled calmly. If you want my spot, you don't have to rush. It'll be yours soon enough. There was a hint of something else in Song Qianyu's words. Gu Shaoyang paused, then slowly drew his sword. Let's do this. As you wish. Song Qianyu laughed, gripping his spear. My 1,000-feather spear is a top-tier weapon. Watch yourself. Gu Shaoyang stepped forward, a low growl escaping his lips. Golden Crow holds the sun. A wave of intense heat radiated outward, the power of his sword like a rising tide. The spectators seemed to see layers of clouds, distant peaks, and a fiery sun. Whoa! Gasps rippled through the crowd. 30% sword intent right off the bat. Gu Shaoyang was going all in. He'd used this move over a month ago to defeat Ren Fei, who was ranked 9th, and this time, the sword felt even stronger. The surging Yuan power sent a wave of heat through the crowd. All right. Song Qianyu roared, his spear flashing, countless shadows striking toward Gu Shaoyang's sword. Thousands of sails have passed. In contrast to Gu Shaoyang's fire, Song Qianyu's attack seemed to carry the weight of an endless ocean, a continuous tide with a deadly undercurrent. 30% spear intent. Someone shouted, eyes wide, 30% sword intent against 30% spear intent. They were pushing each other to the limit right from the start. Shui Haoyu's mouth twisted in bitterness. He'd battled Song Qianyu for a long time before Song Qianyu used that move to beat him. Now, Song Qianyu was throwing it at Gu Shaoyang right away. Was he that much weaker in Song Qianyu's eyes? But no one was paying attention to Shui Haoyu. All eyes were on the fight, glued to every detail. Gu Shaoyang's golden crow sword seemed to be faltering against Song Qianyu's relentless spear shadows. Song Qianyu's Yuanli was just too strong. Even though the Hanhai Xian Gong was potent, Gu Shaoyang was still only in the middle stage of Juyuan, putting him at a disadvantage. Now, Gu Shaoyang roared, unleashing the second level of dragon capturing strength. The three elephants' power exploded, and the golden crow sword surged, shattering Song Qianyu's spear shadows. Looks like Lei Lai might be eating his words. Elder Lin, who was watching from a distance, chuckled. Don't forget, Gu Shaoyang's mastered over 30% of sword intent. Lei Lai just laughed. Don't celebrate too soon. Look. Elder Lin scoffed and focused his gaze. His eyes widened. What? After breaking Song Qianyu's attack, the golden crow sword continued its charge. Song Qianyu remained calm, and an indescribable edge suddenly emanated from him. Then, he thrust his spear forward slowly. The spear moved deliberately, and everyone could see its path, but with every inch it traveled, the power contained in its tip exploded. Late Juyuan, peak of Juyuan, finally, as if breaking free of chains, the 1,000-feather spear blazed like the sun, carrying the weight of 1,000 mountains. The waves of the ocean crashed toward Gu Shaoyang with overwhelming force. The golden crow sword, with its 30% sword intent and the power of the three elephants, was crushed like a bubble. Gu Shaoyang's expression changed dramatically: disbelief, excitement, elation. The onlookers were a riot of emotions. Senior brother Song. He's broken through to the Ningxian realm. A wave of excitement swept through the crowd, and the atmosphere became frenzied. Shui Haoyu was also ecstatic. Beside him, Cui Nan looked conflicted. He's still a step behind. But he's been in the late Juyuan stage long enough. It was only a matter of time. Ha ha ha. Lei Lai was beaming, but Elder Lin's face was a mask of disapproval. You knew, didn't you? You knew Song Qianyu had broken through. So what if I did? What are you going to do about it? Lei Lai grinned like a smug fox. With the power of the Ningxian realm and 30% spear intent, Song Qianyu was unstoppable. Song Qianyu's eyes burned as he looked at Gu Shaoyang and called out, Junior brother Gu, I told you, you're rushing things. I'll be leaving the inner sect soon enough. The top spot will still be yours then. The crowd stared at Gu Shaoyang, their eyes filled with pity. Gu Shaoyang was strong, undeniably talented, but even that couldn't overcome the Ningxian realm. 2 levels separated the middle stage of Juyuan from the early stage of Ningxian. How could he possibly win? I know you've got some fight left in you. Song Qianyu looked at Gu Shaoyang with the understanding of a senior. But you can't beat me. Not everyone is Wei Zhuang, and even senior brother Wei Zhuang couldn't cross 2 whole levels. You'd be better off just giving up. Song Qianyu's tone turned cold and stern, and he pushed the spear forward. The wind whipped Gu Shaoyang's hair. He stared at the spear, and his expression gradually calmed. Amidst the cheering, only a few people heard his muttered words. You're right. I'm not Wei Zhuang, and Wei Zhuang isn't me. So, what he couldn't do doesn't mean I can't either. Gu Shaoyang roared. Shading sword technique. Zhaoying sword intent. Sun and moon, sync. Song Qianyu's expression instantly changed. Chapter 57. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Following Gu Shaoyang's drink, a surge of energy emanated from him. It washed over the entire area, silencing everyone. All eyes were on Gu Shaoyang, showing no emotion. Gu Shaoyang faced Song Qianyu's focused attack and drew his sword. Suddenly, the world seemed to shift, the sky, the square, Qinyun sect itself, everything receded. Gu Shaoyang's figure rose, billowing clouds swirling around his feet as if he stood on a solitary peak. Looking down in shock, everyone saw they were standing on those same swirling clouds. Then, a faint golden light appeared behind Gu Shaoyang. A red sun began to rise from the sea of clouds, revealing itself and casting rays of light everywhere. Cui Nan, who had been half reclined watching the fight, stood up abruptly. Ignoring the blood seeping from his reopened arm wound, his eyes wide, he stared at Gu Shaoyang in disbelief. 45% sword intent, that the others were equally stunned. In the Jiyuan realm, understanding martial arts concept was enough to be considered a prodigy. Gu Shaoyang had grasped 45%. This guy, Lei Lai, in the distance, was astonished. He'd only grasped 30% of a martial arts concept, and every 0.5% increase felt impossible. It required both incredible understanding and a huge time investment, but Gu Shaoyang defied common sense. He seemed to grasp the concept as easily as breathing. In a matter of days, he just kept getting better. Humph. Lei Lai scoffed, then sneered. 45% is still not enough. It's not that easy to overcome the gap between the Jiyuan and Ningxuan realms. The further you advanced in martial arts, the greater the gap between each level. It was a whole other world. Taking on an opponent a whole realm above you was almost impossible. Song Qianyu's eyes shone with admiration and surprise. I underestimated you. But if you think 45% sword intent is enough to stop me, you're wrong. What? Before Song Qianyu could finish, his expression changed again. Behind Gu Shaoyang, the red sun cast golden light everywhere. But where Gu Shaoyang's sword pointed, the sky seemed to darken, and a bright moon appeared, projecting his sword-wielding silhouette. The rising sun, majestic, the lone shadow under the moon, solitary. Two completely different atmospheres converged on Gu Shaoyang, emanating an aura of terrifying power. This. Now, not only Song Qianyu, Cui Nan, and Xue Haoyu but even Lei Lai and Elder Lin, who had been watching from the shadows, were shocked. Their eyes widened, and they looked as if they'd witnessed something impossible. Two kinds of sword intent. Two sword intentions. Lei Lai screamed in disbelief, his voice high-pitched with shock. Elder Lin was equally stunned. The second sword intent seems to be the shadow sword technique from Hanyue Valley. I don't know where he learned it, but he's grasped 20% of it. That little monster. Lei Lai became agitated and started to charge forward, energy surging. Elder Lin snapped out of it and grabbed him, urgently asking, "What are you doing? What do you think?" Lei Lai shouted. "That kid is going to be my disciple. I'll force him to learn from me if I have to. Lin Hasong, this is non-negotiable, even if the sect leader shows up. That Beishu Avila's innate sword bone nonsense is nothing compared to this kid." Elder Lin looked helpless. Meanwhile, the other disciples were speechless. Two kinds of sword intent manifested simultaneously by a disciple in the mid-stage of the Jiyuan realm, and both at a high level, 20% of the shadow sword intent and 45% of the Chuyang sword intent, a combined total of 65%. That increased his power more than sixfold, and, perhaps because one was a Yang attribute sword intent and the other Yin, when used together, they created a wonderful synergy. The resulting power was more than the sum of its parts. To everyone watching, Gu Shaoyang's sword swing made the sun and moon shine brighter. It was as if the stars, sun, and moon were rising and falling on the tip of his sword. With a simple slash, Song Qianyu's spear attack was easily deflected like water. I lost, Song Qianyu said with a wry smile. Gu Shaoyang sheathed his sword calmly. You can continue. Song Qianyu shook his head. There's no point. I admit defeat. He gave Gu Shaoyang a strange look and said, I never thought anyone could surpass senior brother Wei Zhuang in talent. Gu Shaoyang, I look forward to you reaching the Ningxin realm. I can't wait to see you fight Wei Zhuang. That will be something. Song Qianyu looked as honorable as his spear. After a few seconds of stunned silence, Song Qianyu's words unleashed a storm of cheers and excited chatter. Everyone looked at Gu Shaoyang with enthusiasm, excitement, admiration, and awe. A Juyuan defeating a Ningxin, wielding two kinds of sword intent. It was incredible. They had witnessed the birth of the inner sect's youngest chief, compared to Gu Shaoyang. All the talented disciples on the talent list looked insignificant. He was a comet, rising with unstoppable momentum, blazing brightly, the Qingyun sect's #1 prodigy, surpassing even Wei Zhuang. Chapter 58. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The inner sect assessment wrapped up, the talent rankings were updated, and Gu Shaoyang snagged the top spot. Cui Nan, injured in his fight with Gu Shaoyang, didn't score anything in the technical assessment, dropping him to third. Shui Haoyu moved up to second, outperforming Cui Nan in both the speed and technical tests. Song Qianyu, meanwhile, had already left the inner sect, graduating to the core disciples. Anyone who breaks through to the Ningxin stage before turning 25 qualifies. As a core disciple of the Qingyun sect, Gu Shaoyang headed towards the punishment hall. The elder in charge there was Lei Lai, and Gu Shaoyang was going to make him keep his promise. If he topped the talent list within 3 months, he wouldn't have to become Lei Lai's disciple. Every disciple he passed greeted him with a respectful, "Hello, senior brother Gu." His battle with Song Qianyu cemented his position as the top dog in the inner sect. No one dared to disrespect him. Entering the punishment hall, Gu Shaoyang was surprised to see Elder Lin already there. Haha, Lei Lai beamed when he saw Gu Shaoyang, waving him over. He was clearly in a great mood. Come on in. We have an announcement for you. Gu Shaoyang frowned. Lei Lai must have known he won. This change in attitude suggested his apprenticeship was about to change, and it did. Elder Lin, why don't you tell him? Lei Lai waved his hand, treating Elder Lin with newfound respect. Elder Lin, looking conflicted, addressed Gu Shaoyang. Elder Lei Lai and I have discussed it and decided to accept you as a disciple together. You'll learn swordsmanship from him and alchemy from me. Lei Lai grinned at Gu Shaoyang. Kid, this is the best of both worlds. You have a real gift for swords, and you need someone to guide you. Otherwise, it's a waste. And I'm the best guy for the job. Elder Lin chimed in. Elder Lei Lai is even going to teach you the electric light and thunder sword technique, one of the Qingyun sect's few remaining high-level martial arts. Gu Shaoyang paused, then nodded. I understand. He turned to Lei Lai, calling out softly, Master. Yes, Lei Lai nearly jumped for joy. Gu Shaoyang's acknowledgement made him happier than breaking through to the late Xian Dan stage. A good disciple. I'll treat you right, I promise. Lei Lai chuckled, slapping Gu Shaoyang on the shoulder, and then handed him something. Gu Shaoyang examined it closely. A spirit storage ring, that's right. Lei Lai gave him a spirit storage ring, and a high-quality one at that. Elder Lin sighed. Lei Lai, you only have 2 of those. Giving one to Shaoyang now is really splurging. Lei Lai laughed. He's my star pupil. What's wrong with that? Turning to Gu Shaoyang, he said warmly, Good disciple, I've put 50 high-grade Yuan stones in this ring for you, along with my insights on swordsmanship over the years. I see you've already mastered 2 low-level sword techniques. There's no need to learn others right now. What you need to do is to keep understanding those sword intentions, and Lei Lai said seriously, improve your cultivation. No matter how powerful your sword moves are, you need the Yuanli to back them up. Understood. Gu Shaoyang nodded. In his fight with Song Qianyu, using the sinking sun and moon move with 2 sword intents drained his energy. Thankfully, he practiced the Banhai Xian Gong. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had the strength to stand, let alone wield his sword. If Song Qianyu had pressed the attack, the outcome would have been uncertain. Lei Lai was right. He needed to reach the late Juyuan stage, or even the condensation realm. There's a 4-sect competition in 6 months. I hope you'll be ready to shine then. Lei Lai turned to glare at Elder Lin. Lin Hasong, I'm treating my apprentice like this. Aren't you going to show your appreciation? Elder Lin chuckled, then produced a black cloth bag and gave it to Gu Shaoyang. Here, take these. You can come to me in a few days to continue your alchemy studies. Gu Shaoyang peeked inside. It held dozens of crystal-clear Yuan stones and several bottles of elixirs, each Yuan stone, the size of a duck egg, pulsed with immense vitality. Lei Lai's eyes widened. Top-quality Yuan stones. I can't even bring myself to use those for my own cultivation. You alchemists really live the good life. Gu Shaoyang's heart raced, like a pauper suddenly striking it rich. Top-quality Yuan stones were worth far more than high-grade ones. Although the exchange rate was 10-1, few were willing to trade. They were even more effective than elixirs in helping warriors break through bottlenecks. Thank you, Master. Gu Shaoyang thanked Elder Lin. After giving Gu Shaoyang a few more pointers, they waved him off. Watching Gu Shaoyang leave, Lei Lai said with satisfaction, physical training, movement, cultivation, martial arts. Gu Shaoyang is superior to everyone else. What do you think, Lin Hasong? Elder Lin said solemnly, Gu Shaoyang is virtually unmatched, like Yan Xingtian of the Dacian kingdom, a once-in-a-generation talent, eclipsing the geniuses of the 9 kingdoms, leaving his peers in the dust. Lei Lai chuckled, narrowing his eyes. Yan Xingtian is a once-in-10,000-year occurrence. Maybe it's our Qin Yun sect's turn this time. Chapter 60. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Blackstone Town straddled the border between the Dayuan and Dacian kingdoms. It was a melting pot, teeming with merchants and warriors from both sides year-round. A young man, clad in blue and carrying a long sword, entered the town's largest weapons shop. He was slender and handsome, with a touch of road weariness about him, suggesting a long journey. This should be the place, Gu Shaoyang thought, surveying the bustling town. The mission intel said the Nanling Double Eagles, Ghost Owl and Vulture, are meeting here in a week. That gives me 7 days to prepare. First things first, I need to get my hands on that. With his mind made up, Gu Shaoyang stepped inside. Welcome, young sir. What can I get for you? The shopkeeper greeted him with a wide smile. We have the best and most complete selection of weapons in Blackstone Town. You're sure to find what you need. Gu Shaoyang scanned the shop, taking in the array of swords, spears, and halberds. I'll take a look around first, he said calmly. Be my guest. The shopkeeper eagerly stepped aside. With all sorts of people from different sects coming through Blackstone Town, the shopkeeper had a good eye for spotting customers. The well-dressed young man, with a hint of nobility about him, looked every bit the disciple of some prestigious sect. These types were always generous, and this deal could be big. The thought made the shopkeeper even more attentive. Seeing that you're a swordsman, perhaps you'd like to examine this one. The shopkeeper led Gu Shaoyang to a sword displayed at the center of the store, its blade shimmering with a cold light. This is the water-breaking sword, hand-forged by the best blacksmith in town. During the forging process, we incorporated the venom of the poisonous water lizard, making it highly toxic and particularly effective for Yin-type techniques. Gu Shaoyang casually picked up the long sword, noting the blue tint of its blade. The shopkeeper's smile faltered as he saw Gu Shaoyang about to test the blade on his own hand. Young sir, please be careful. That sword is incredibly poisonous. Before he could finish, Gu Shaoyang had drawn a small cut on his finger. The wound instantly blackened, as if about to fester. Then, a faint light emanated from Gu Shaoyang's hand. He forced out a few drops of the poisoned blood, and the wound slowly began to heal. The shopkeeper was dumbfounded. He knew better than anyone the potency of the water-breaking sword's poison. Legend had it that, during testing, even a level 3 monster had been fatally poisoned from a mere scratch, yet, this young man had shrugged off the poison without so much as a flinch. His strength must be truly extraordinary, a prodigy among his peers. Gu Shaoyang frowned slightly. While the water-breaking sword was undoubtedly sharp, its main selling point was its poison. The toxicity might be enough to take down an ordinary mid-stage Jiyuan cultivator. but it was practically useless against anyone with even rudimentary body refinement. He wasn't impressed. Anything else? Gu Shaoyang asked, snapping out of his stupor. The shopkeeper nodded frantically. This is the Shaoyang sword, forged from century-old fire-yang wood and thousand-hammered fine iron. It's exceptionally powerful and greatly enhances Yang attribute skills. A peerless treasure, but this time, the shopkeeper presented a long sword with a crimson blade that shimmered with fiery energy. Shaoyang sword. Gu Shaoyang picked up the sword and examined it closely. When he channeled a bit of his own energy into it, the blade instantly became scorching hot. If he used this sword with the Golden Crow sword technique, it would definitely amplify the technique's power threefold. Plus, the sword's name matched his own, which was a nice bonus. How much does this sword cost? 120 high-grade Yuan stones, the shopkeeper replied. But, seeing as you're a serious buyer, I'll knock off 10 high-grade Yuan stones. 110 high-grade Yuan stones. Gu Shaoyang frowned. It wasn't that he couldn't afford it, but the price still seemed steep. He was already short on Yuan stones as he prepared to break through in the later stages of Juyuan cultivation. Gu Shaoyang pondered for a moment, then picked up a different sword and asked, and this one? How much is it? This sword had a faint green tint and, though sharp, was far less impressive than the water-breaking and Shaoyang swords. The shopkeeper chuckled. Young sir, you're joking, right? This is just a common, ordinary weapon, a practice piece made by our apprentices. It's not even in the same league as the sword you're carrying, let alone worthy of someone of your status. It's just for ordinary chi training folks. How much? 100 taels of silver. 1 low-grade Yuan stone was worth 1,000 taels of silver. Gu Shaoyang's eyes gleamed as he said firmly, I'll take it. Huh. The shopkeeper was speechless, then heard Gu Shaoyang's cold, determined voice. I want 10,000 of the same sword.